Hello, hello. It's me, yeah boy, actually starting at a reasonable hour for once before this game. Not canceling stream, not delaying it, actually playing the game when we intend to. And it's been a minute, cause yeah, it's been way too long actually. I just uh 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 but that's okay, cause you know what? Life happens. Gotta take care of yourself. And you know what? It's a good day for Yuri. You think? I would say so. Like, work definitely wasn't great today, but you know what? I got off work. I took a comfy little nap. I am now well energized and ready to go. And I don't even. I kind of like remember what was happening last time because I think we were still in like kind of the setup stage of things. So I'm just gonna jump right back into it because I'm impatient. Oh, yeah, okay, that just right where we stopped. Hours later, I heard the sound of the front door opening and closing. I peek out my bedroom, worried that it might be the mayor laying herself in again. It's just Tara, though, alone. It's been a few hours since we parted ways, and I'm not as annoyed with her anymore. So even though I'm kind of tempted to just put in my headphones and ignore her, I get up and head into the living room. She stands at the sink, flipping through a notebook. I knock on the edge of my door frame as I enter so that she can hear me coming.
Hey.
Hey.
Rather than looking at me, she keeps reading her notebook. Well, pretending to. There's no way she could actually be reading as fast as she's turning the pages. I decide not to call her on it. No point in starting another fight.
How'd it go?
About the same.
Is that good or bad?
She doesn't respond. She must be really upset about this morning. It's not like she's being unreasonable. Now I've had some time to rest and recuperate. I feel kind of bad about being so harsh towards her and Morgan.
Morgan's mom came by earlier.
That gets her attention. She shuts the book and turns around. Gotcha.
Really? What for?
Just wanted to introduce herself. I told her a bit about who we are and what the show's about.
What did she think?
I don't know. She didn't really say much. She was really weird. Like in a different way than Morgan. She seemed really intense, I guess.
What I mostly remember is how she was glaring the whole time. It never seemed like she was anything other than angry about something. Smugly, Tara holds up the notebook she was just perusing.
I know you're gonna call BS, but Morgan was telling me a lot of stuff about her mom. Like, some seriously crazy stuff. You wanna read it?
She offers me the notebook. It hangs limply, a giant frown in the air. She's used that thing for so long that it's lost all its rigidness. I shake my head.
I'll take your word for it.
I've heard enough crazy stuff from Morgan for one day. I don't need to hear theories on how her mom is actually the spawn of Satan or something.
Figured. Make any progress with the new vid?
Not really. We're gonna need more footage before there's enough to really get started.
That mean you're coming with us from now on, or what?
Yeah, I will. Sorry for being bitchy earlier.
Again.
Don't sweat it.
She strikes a pose.
Just make sure to bring your A game.
I roll my eyes, but I'm smiling. Even though we bicker a lot, I'm truly grateful that it's always easily patched up.
Yeah.
I can't promise I'll buy into a word of what Morgan says, but the least I can do is try to be polite about it. The tension resolved, Tara yawns and flaps her notebook at me again.
All right, well, I'm gonna hit the hay soon. What about you?
I'll probably watch a film first. I'm not that tired yet.
How many times can you watch 2001 without getting sick of it?
I don't know, but I intend to find out.
Was that the... I feel I've heard that movie somewhere before. I'm blanking, though. Oh well. Tara and I each head back to our bedrooms. As I go, I feel a bit better about everything. Just because I'm quitting the show does mean I want to lose Tara as my best friend. We've been friends for over a decade, so of course we've had our disagreements and arguments. I think the longest we've ever gone without talking was a month. Still, over the last few days, it's felt that we've been coming dangerously close to saying something that goes too far. Either one of us. And thinking back on today, I can't really pretend that I'm the one who was mostly at fault. Oh, I'm not the one who was mostly at fault. Even when I'm aware that I'm losing my cool, sometimes it feels like it's hard to stop. Tara totally has it coming, though, at least some of the time. From now on, I will be better. I won't let myself be as obnoxious as I was today. For everyone's sake. I climb into bed and set my laptop getting comfy. In the dark with my headphones in, it doesn't take too long to immerse myself in the familiar feeling of a film that I love. And that's what I appreciate about movies. No matter the... I don't know if my mic is picking that up, but... there is a lot of noise outside all of a sudden. Hold on. Okay, of course, as soon as I go to get up to investigate, it stops. Whatever. Anyway, that's what I appreciate about movies. No matter the circumstances, they can help you escape. My eyes are getting heavy, and I pull the blanket up to my chin. The computer's bounced in just the right spot to not fall off the bed. All things considered, it's a cozier setup than I could have hoped for from a cabin out here. Sure, the Wi-Fi is bad, but it gives me an excuse to catch up on my backlog. Everything's perfect to fall asleep. The sound of something knocking my window makes me leap up. It's past midnight. There shouldn't be anyone here. Maybe it's a bird? Or a squirrel or something? From where I'm lying, I'm not able to see. Should I yell for Tara? No, not until I know what it is. If it's just some wildlife, as is probably the case, she'd never let me live it down. Still, my heart pounds as I slam my laptop shut, killing the only source of light. Without, the room is pitch black. Dark enough that I can't see what's at the window, but hopefully it can't see me either. If this turns out to just be a lost rodent or something, I'm gonna feel really stupid. I stalk over to the window, prepared to cut and run if I need to. Slowly, I raise myself up to eye level.
Hey.
Girl, it is a dead night. What are you doing? Morgan is pressed against the window pane, looking into my room with one hand resting against the glass.
You have a minute?
God damn it. The tension drains out of me, replaced immediately with exhaustion. I should have known.
You couldn't knock?
I did.
I rub my temples and sigh. She's technically correct. The worst kind of correct.
Okay, I guess I have a minute. But if you're going to come in and talk, please use the door.
Of course. I'm not going to climb through the window.
Color me shocked. I head into the living room and hesitate in front of Tara's door. Should I knock? Knowing her, she's probably already asleep. And I've always been jealous of her ability to pass out instantly. I decide to leave it up to Morgan. There must be a reason she knocked on my window, not Tara's. I unlock the front door and let Morgan in. She's waiting with a thermos of coffee in her hands, like usual.
Sorry to bother you. I know it's late.
It's fine. I was still awake.
Not for much longer, ideally, but I keep that to myself.
Were you working on the video?
Nah, just watching a film before bed. Can't do much until we have more footage. And even then, I left most of my setup back in the US.
We sit down on the couches, just like her mother and I did earlier. For all her faults, at least Morgan isn't as terrifying as her mom is.
Does Tara help with the video work at all?
Not really. I've tried to teach her stuff once or twice, but she's not interested in learning.
That sounds like her.
Yeah.
I'm a little put off by Morgan already feeling like she knows Tara and what she's like. I guess as a result of watching someone online for so long. You start to think you know what they're like, even though you only ever see one side of them. That's called parasocialism. We get it a lot, so I'm kind of used to it. Sometimes it can become a bigger problem, though. People think that they're entitled to us acting a certain way because they've seen it online. Fortunately, Morgan hasn't been that way at all. Yet. I do wish that she would get to the point of why she's here, though. But instead, she gets up and heads to the kitchen area, retrieving a coffee mug from the cabinet without ever turning on the lights. I twist around to watch as she pours some of the coffee from her thermos into the mug, and then loads that into the microwave. Must not be a very effective thermos. At least she's polite enough to make sure the microwave doesn't slam. She leans against the counter, barely visible to me.
Tara told me that you're leaving the show after this trip is over.
Of course she did. I must have made a face because Morgan clears her throat loudly.
Sorry, was it supposed to be a secret?
Nah, it's fine. But yeah, that's the idea. I'll go back and finish school.
I see. That's a shame. I know you hate when it happens, but I've always enjoyed the moments where you're on camera.
Thanks. I'm just camera shy. Ironic, I know. She's yanked me on screen enough times that I'm a bit used to it by now, though.
Morgan hits the stop button on the microwave a second before it dings. She retrieves her coffee and returns to the couch.
But I guess that's why things seemed a bit tense between the two of you, right?
Before I can answer, she shakes her head.
Actually, sorry. That's none of my business.
You're fine. It's that obvious, huh?
A bit. You seem tense whenever I see you. That's actually the main reason I came by. I promise it wasn't just to be nosy.
I was starting to wonder.
I came by to say that I'm sorry. I know that you're also uncomfortable around me.
She says it as nonchalantly as if she were telling me about the weather. I bite my lip. I mean, she's not wrong. But I don't want to just say that.
It's okay. You don't have to spare my feelings. I guarantee I've been called worse than whatever it is you're thinking.
No. You don't mean... Morgan, have they called you stinky?
It's just that I'd sleep better tonight if I cleared the air between us first.
She takes a long sip of coffee that should be hot enough to scald her mouth. I can't fathom how she could sleep at all, or if she even needs to anymore.
I mean, It's nothing like that. Nothing personal, really. I'm just a cynic, I guess. If it makes you feel any better, I'm the same way for pretty much every episode. You just get the behind-the-scenes experience this time.
Morgan shrugs.
I can't blame you for thinking I'm crazy or full of shit. But I can promise you that I'm not stupid.
It takes me a beat to realize that was a joke.
It's fine. I'm always the skeptical one out of the two of us, after all. There's just a lot going on, like you heard. So I'm sort of a mess all around right now. It's not your fault.
I half laugh.
At least not entirely.
She smiles thinly, seeming to appreciate my bluntness.
To be perfectly honest, you weren't really what we were expecting either.
She sets the coffee down, looking interested.
Really?
Yeah, we were prepared for someone super fangirly and like all over Tara. Like annoyingly so.
Not me.
Right. Even in your email, you seemed a bit more...
I don't know how to not say this rudely. Interesting? Engaging? Not monotone? Animated. That would be a good word. Just say, hey, you seemed a lot more animated.
More energetic?
That works too. Phew, she saves me again.
Yeah, pretty much.
The emails that we had exchanged back home had lots of smiley faces, exclamation points, and other cheery touches. In person, however, seeing Morgan smile at all is a rarity on its own.
That makes sense. I wasn't trying to trick the two of you or anything. It's just easier to be open like that online, I guess.
I understand.
That much at least I really can empathize with.
I know that you don't know me, and that so far, I haven't given you any real reason to trust me or believe me. But I hope that you'll at least give it a chance. Paranormal is really important to me. I've been a fan for years, but I'm not the type of person who would invite you to the middle of nowhere just to meet Tara. I invited you out here for a reason, and I'm confident in that reason. But I understand that you'll need more proof than that.
I wait to see if she has more to say, but that seems to be it.
Thank you for telling me all this, though. I really do appreciate it. And I'm sorry for being so dismissive. It'd be nice to be wrong for once. So, I hope that we do find all that stuff you talked about. I really do.
Tomorrow night, I was going to show Tara around the woods a bit. Would you like to come along?
Yeah, I'll be there.
I don't especially like the idea of wandering the forest at night, but I can't exactly say no after I've just promised to be more agreeable. She nods and takes a careful swig of her coffee. Then she stands.
Cool. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I'll get out of your hair now so you can get some rest.
She heads for the door and throws it open without waiting for a response. The temperature plummets right away and she turns back.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate it too. But just so you know, I'll prove you wrong.
She closes the door and disappears into the night. Well, that's a whimsical little forest if I've ever seen one. Oh, we're just jumping ahead to the next night, okay. We head to the appointed meeting spot right at the turn of the hour. Even during the day, the forest felt hostile and foreign, but now at night, it's downright scary. Each rattle of a branch is a demon's footsteps. Every gust of wind is a monster's breath. I stand close to Tara, trying the backs of her feet several times.
I think this is supposed to be the place.
I look around the area. It's indistinguishable from the rest of the woods. My only comfort is a tiny pinprick of light that represents our cabin, back at the forest's edge. A feeling of dread creeps its way up my spine. What if this is a trap, or a setup? Maybe Morgan's just lured us out here into the middle of nowhere and is waiting out of sight with a knife in hand or something. Considering we traveled thousands of kilometers to get here, if this was a trick, we fell for it hard.
Maybe we're early.
I know that we're not. Tara sweeps the flashlight around, illuminating a few identical trees before the light's beam peters off into oblivion.
Maybe we should just go back.
Go back. The light passes over Morgan, suddenly a meter away from us.
Ah!
Tara jolts backwards, crashing into me. The flashlight plummets to the ground, bouncing once before stopping. I keep my balance, barely, and catch Tara's arm to stop her from falling.
Are you okay?
Short term? Yeah, but I think I just lost 10 years. What about you, Mads?
I'm fine. What on earth were you doing?
Me? I was waiting for you.
You know, normally you do greet people when you're trying to meet up with them and get their attention, you know?
Where? Didn't you hear us?
Just over there. Sorry, I had headphones in and missed you.
You were just standing in the dark? In a forest? Wearing headphones?
Hey, don't be judgmental about someone's hobbies.
Yes? Why?
At a loss for words, I can only shrug. Does hanging out alone in the dark in the middle of nowhere not register as weird for Morgan?
He just spooked us is all, no worries.
She stoops down and retrieves a flashlight from the snow, trying it on her sleeve. She brushes off the snow the same way she brushes off Morgan's actions. Why does that seem so passive-aggressive?
Anyway, it's all good. What now?
Morgan turns and faces the trees, shining her flashlight across them.
I thought we could walk around a little. It might help you to get a better feel for the area.
Behind Morgan's back, Tara and I exchange a look of concern. Tara gives me the slightest of shrugs. I'm still reluctant, but I nod. If Morgan's planning to kill us, it's not like it'll make a difference whether she does it here or in the forest. And I'm pretty sure she's not a murderer anyway.
Sure, lead on.
Morgan sets off without another word, and we follow just a couple paces back.
Are we going somewhere in particular?
Not really. I doubt you want to go too far this late at night, right?
Right.
That's fine. We'll stick to the edge then.
As we walk, Morgan keeps her flashlight pointed straight ahead in the direction that we're going. Tara, on the other hand, swings hers around, looking up trees and out into the abyss. She and I only brought one flashlight with us. The spare is sitting in one of our suitcases back at the cabin. I regret leaving it behind, just on the off chance that we somehow get separated.
So, did you learn anything useful today?
Not really. We went around town some, but
But most people didn't really want to talk.
yeah.
How'd you know?
That's how it is around here. People are mistrustful.
I was kinda surprised by that. Figured with how out of the way it is here that we might have been, I don't know.
Treated like celebrities?
Hey now, don't project. But something like that.
It's more like they isolate themselves by choice. We have internet and TV. It's just that lots of people choose not to use them. I'm guessing they probably had some not so nice things to say about me too, right?
Only a spoonful. Neither? I think I try to say neither and Tara at the same time. Neither Tara nor I respond. Our silent lasts a beat too long.
It's okay. I'm used to it. You don't have to pretend or anything.
Light shines in our faces as Morgan turns around, half smiling.
Hey, you two don't need another assistant back where you live or anything, right?
My mouth flaps like a fish while I try to think of a diplomatic response. But then Morgan laughs and faces forward again.
Just kidding.
We trek on in awkward silence. I'm not even sure what we're supposed to be doing or looking for. We're just wandering in the dark, trusting that Morgan knows how to get back to the cabin. It's cold and my feet are sore, and I'm once again regretting coming to Eisenfeld. I gently tug on Tara's sleeve, right by her elbow. When she looks at me, I suddenly gesture back towards where we came from in a shrug, hoping she'll get the message. Now? She mouths back. I nod. She gives a worried look over towards Morgan, who is now slightly farther away. Tara holds up 5 fingers. 5 more minutes. Sighing, I nod again. We hurry to catch back up with Morgan.
Something wrong?
Oh no, Maddie, had something in her shoe.
Oh,
It's hard to tell if she buys it. I wouldn't. Mentally, I'm counting backwards in 5 minutes, already imagining the comfort of my bed and blanket back at the cabin. How I'm going to survive a whole month of this is an issue for future me to worry about.
I got lost out in this part of the forest once.
3 minutes and 32 seconds. 3 minutes and 31 seconds. Okay, Maddie, don't be that. Don't, pardon my language, but don't be that bitch. Don't count every painstaking second.
Don't worry though. I know my way around now.
Yeah, they mentioned something about that.
I step on Tara's foot again, this time totally on purpose.
I thought they might.
Her tone is still completely nonchalant. At least Morgan seems impossible to offend.
It's too bad it looks like it's going to snow tonight. We probably shouldn't stay out too late.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I'm sorry this was so disappointing. I'd hoped that there would be more to see.
What exactly were you expecting? It's the middle of the night.
Come on, Mads, it's about the atmosphere. It's way spookier out here when it's dark.
I know, that's half the problem.
We can turn back now if you'd like.
Before I can agree, Tara shakes her head.
Nah, let's give it a couple more minutes. You came out all this way for us after all.
I glare at Tara, but I think she misses it. I've lost track of my countdown, too.
Whatever.
The small, apologetic smile that I barely notice does little to assuage my discomfort. We traipse aimlessly through the snow for a while longer. I stare at my feet more than at the path ahead, and simply follow in the footprints left behind by the other two. So I nearly slam into Tara, who's coming to a complete halt yet again.
What now?
I saw something.
You did?
Tara, stop messing around. Let's...
No, I mean it. I saw something.
Shut up. I can tell by her tone that she's serious. She saw something, or at least she thinks she did. The three of us turn and face the way she is. It's even deeper into the forest, barely lit by the moon.
There was a light.
Someone else walking around?
There shouldn't be anyone out at this time of night. It's dangerous to be in the woods once it gets late.
Then what are we doing here? Oh. I hopped to not point out the obvious hypocrisy. Yup.
It was probably moonlight or something.
It wasn't the moon, Maddie.
It was a space station.
There's something out there.
Oh, that's cute art. Both of them point their flashlights in the direction Tara's looking. Aside from more trees, there's nothing to be seen. Maddie, you look oddly happy in this shot. I feel like you're not supposed to be.
Tara?
Maddie.
She grins.
This is what we're here for. Come on.
Flashbang. Tara breaks into a run, leaving Morgan and I behind in surprise. We exchange a look before Morgan runs off after her. I have no choice but to go too. The regret is almost instant. Cold knives pierce through my lungs with each heavy breath. I'm not in the best shape to begin with, and the snow and boots don't make things any easier. The only consolation is that we're running in a straight line, so it won't be too hard to follow our path back. Every so often we pause to catch our breath. The pace is catching up to Tara, too, who has to fight to keep her smile on. Morgan seems unfazed by it all. I'm about 3 seconds away from demanding that we give up when I see it. The girls spot a mysterious pink floating light in the forest, and Tara points it out to the others. Way off in the distance, too far to identify the source, is a light. It sparkles and glimmers like a star that fell to earth. I fall silent, the words stolen from my mouth. Then Tara points, stating what we already know.
There it is!
Buoyed by her second wind, Tara runs off again. This time Morgan and I are close behind. We follow the light, which sometimes blinks out, but soon reappears. I'm too focused on not slipping and falling to give much thought as to the source. There's no telling how long or how far we've been going. Somehow the light never seems to get any closer or farther away. It's like it's running from us.
Hey, wait up!
Tara yells out into the darkness. If whatever it is can understand her, it ignores her. Running is quickly becoming difficult. My lungs burn from the cold, and my breathing turns ragged after barely a minute. Tara pulls further and further ahead from Morgan and me. her one-track mind fixated on that light. After a bit longer, I hit my limit, and my pace slows back to a walk, then a stop. I fold over hands on my knees as I gasp for breath. Morgan crunches to a stop just ahead too, turning back towards me.
Are you alright?
I tried to respond, but I'm breathing too heavily to be able to talk. I just wave my hand, gesturing for Morgan to go on ahead without me. But she doesn't.
Are you sure?
I force myself to stand and nod.
I'm fine.
In the murk, Tara's become a disembodied light herself. Only the flashlight's glow visible. I watch it bound to a halt and then slowly make its way back towards us.
You guys give up too easily.
How are you not dead? I haven't seen you run in years.
That's 'cause you never hit the gym with me.
I don't know if she's joking or not, and I'm too worn out to care.
So, what was that thing? Do you think it was your forest spirit?
Morgan's eyes widen.
You believe me?
Hello, Halibun. I'm okay. Oddly awake, oddly sleepy, but you know what? We're here to watch girls fall in love at some point. Oh, I just realized chat is actually covering up the text box potentially. Let me move. Where are you? Yeah, so, that, I think that should be good. Yeah, I think that'll be good for this one. If not, well, we'll find out real quick. But yes, I hope you're having a good evening too. You believe me? Oh. She just said that. Tara shrugs.
I'm considering it at least. I mean, what else could it have been?
Fairies.
Oh, you know, just the forest fairies. Morgan says it very nonchalantly. I side-eye Tara, who is very interested in her boots.
The forest spirit doesn't really make a light like that. At least, not that I'm aware of.
Right, that makes sense. Doesn't it, Mads?
It was probably someone from the village.
But as I say it, I know how unlikely that is. The way the light seems to always maintain a precise distance was unnatural. I don't know, you could store fairies in a lot of places, like caves and seashells. Probably water fairies. There are tons of environments for them. I can feel the seeds of doubt being sown in my heart.
But it was definitely strange.
Tara looks at me with more pride than a rainbow flag. God damn it.
Hey, holy shit! That's practically canon in Maddie terms.
I roll my eyes, but it's partially just for show. I'm curious, at the very least. I wouldn't call myself a believer as much as Tara wishes, but that's two strange things so far, which is two more than expected when I boarded the train out here.
It was strange. That's as much as I'll...
A yawn overtakes me in the middle of speaking. It doesn't help the pain in my lungs.
Oh, guess it's past your bedtime, huh?
I kick some snow at her and it bounces uselessly off of her pants. With the way we've been bantering with each other, it really does feel a bit more like old times. Make that three strange things on this trip so far.
We should begin heading back anyway. We can't go much further in before I'd be lost too.
You still know where we are?
Yes, of course. We'd be in trouble if not.
She has a point. I got so caught up chasing light that I lost track of what direction we'd come from.
I'll show you around more tomorrow. There's something you might like to see.
Yeah? What is it?
A surprise. We'll go tomorrow before it gets dark. It's a bit of a walk.
Does it have to do with whatever that light was?
I have no idea. It's possible.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Story of my life. Okay, well, we'll call it quits for tonight and pick back up tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess.
That's fine by me.
Great!
She hops forward, then pauses.
Guess you ought to lead the way.
Morgan smiles as she does just that. It takes us only 15 minutes or so to reach the cabin. We must have had a lot of time to our trip with all the wandering we did. Morgan bids us farewell at the door, which I barely return before stumbling inside. Oh, bids a farewell. I had to think about that one. I'm halfway out of my boots by the time Tara's inside.
Guess you're not staying up late then.
I'm out like a light the second I hit the bed.
Tara grins, just briefly.
Right.
My hand is on the doorknob when Tara clears her throat.
Hey, thanks for, chasing after that thing. I appreciate you playing along.
My hand lingers on the door, poised to turn.
Yeah, of course. Let's see what we find tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Right. Good night.
Night.
I quickly step in, then shut my bedroom door before Tara can say anything else. As I switch off the lights and crawl into bed, I remember the end of the train ride here. I felt the same just now, standing there not knowing what to say. It would be so easy. I banish those thoughts from my mind and wrench my eyes shut. There'll be time to worry about tomorrow. I have time to think. We have a month. As I slowly drift off to sleep, the exhaustion that I felt winning out over the stress, the last thoughts I have are of dancing lights in the snow. We start to fall into a bit of routine. Every day, Tara and I will get up and explore Eisenfeld or the surrounding area a bit. We never go too far into the forest, but just enough to set up some dramatic camera angles, or to fill some monologue segments for Tara. Once Morgan's done with work, she'll join us or show us around. Sometimes she brings her cat with her. Surprise, surprise, it still hasn't said a word. She keeps promising it eventually will, though. Ever since the night we saw the lights in the trees, we've hoped to encounter something equally mysterious or interesting. No such luck, though. Any sort of hope or excitement that I had, any bit of belief that I'd allowed myself to build up to, has been squashed back down to resigned indifference. My trademark, I know. It took about a week of this before Morgan asked us to wait for her at the cabin, saying she was finally ready to show us that thing she mentioned. She still wasn't any more forthcoming with what it was, but over the week we'd known Morgan, I'd gotten a little more comfortable with the idea. If she was going to leave us in a shallow grave or something, she'd had plenty of opportunities to do that already. The heavy clouds overhead promised a darker night than the past few, and probably have a heavier snowfall. We won't be able to stay out very late. Even with Morgan's guidance, the possibility of being caught in a snowstorm is hard to ignore. Tara paces back and forth outside as I linger in the doorway, trying to enjoy the warmth from our cabin for as long as I can. Finally, a fashionable 15 minutes late, I spot Morgan heading down the trail from the village towards us. Tara zips off to intercept her, and the two of them approach together.
Hey, sorry I'm late. Work was a little busy tonight.
No worries.
Well, that answers one of the myths of Eisenfeld that I was curious about, whether or not anyone ever actually shops at Morgan's store. Tara bounces between the two of us, raring to get going. Morgan smiles approvingly at her.
So, you said you had something special planned for tonight, right?
She spent the whole day trying to guess what it is.
I think I've narrowed it down. It's either a crashed UFO, the Fountain of Youth, or Elvis.
Elvis is kind of a cryptid, but even I know Elvis isn't real.
Those are the ones you narrowed it down to?
Someday, Mads, it's gonna be Elvis, and you're going to wish you'd believe me.
I faced Morgan, pointedly turning my back to Tara.
Anyway, We're ready to go if you are.
Do you both have flashlights? We're going to be heading a bit deeper into the woods this time.
We both hold up our lights in unison. After our first venture into the forest together, there's no way I'm ever going out there without us each having a flashlight. Just having one makes me feel more self-reliant. It helps suppress my anxiety a little bit. Just a little.
Great. Follow me.
We circle back around the cabin and head into the woods.
I've been waiting to show you two this since you got here. You're going to love it.
Tara starts to vibrate again, clearly soaking up the suspense. As much as I hate to admit it, she's got me pretty curious too. I'm not sure what she could be keeping secret out here, and for so long.
This isn't going to be dangerous or anything, right?
Probably not.
I like those odds.
We set off at a fairly brisk pace. Tara makes it a point to walk right by Morgan's side, taking short and hurried strides. If she doesn't find out where we're going soon, I'm pretty sure she might actually explode.
Okay, I'm gonna keep guessing. Ancient graveyard, fairy circle, satanic ritual, Sasquatch den?
Close. It's a church.
Take me to church. Tara stops dead in her tracks.
Wait, a church? Was Maddie right when she said you were gonna try to get us to join a cult?
I never said that.
I might have said that. Despite her antics, Morgan never stops or slows down.
Nothing like that, I promise. It's really old. Older than any of the buildings you've seen in Eisenfeld. The people who built it are ancestors of the residents today. I guess they were what you'd consider pagans. They worshipped a god of the forest.
Whoa.
I expect more to the story, but that seems to be Morgan's stopping point for now. She focuses on the path instead, swinging her lantern around in an arc as she looks for whatever it is that's telling her where to go. Every single tree around me looks identical, but I guess one of them is a little more special than the rest. When she sees whichever one that is, she starts to lead us on again. My glasses start fogging up a bit more as we walk. I should have insisted that Tara layer up a bit more. I'd be a pretty crappy friend if I let her freeze to death out here. Yeah, only kind of a bad friend.
So, to summarize, your great whatevers and the rest of the villagers built an old church out in the forest to worship a giant forest spirit, and that's what we're going to see right now?
Right.
Have I mentioned that this is going to be the best episode of the show ever?
Morgan's got Tara hang on to her every word. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm glad she's having a good time at least. No thanks to me.
You said it's older than the rest of the village. Do you know how old?
Centuries, at least. I don't know how many. I've done some research on the history of Eisenfeld, but none of the books really mention it.
How'd you learn about it then?
A lot of it comes from old journals, or other documents left behind by the people who used to live here. Parts of it are passed down as family legends, too.
Hey, Cold Shoulder, I appreciate the pun. Thank you for that. I needed that. The image of Evelyn and Morgan sitting cozily by a fire while Evelyn tells stories is one that I can't imagine actually happened. I'm not going to pry into the details of that, though.
You think we could take a look at those journals sometime? Maybe we could show them off on the show. Authentic first-hand accounts, or something like that.
For some reason, Morgan stops looking ponderous. I also realize that it's starting to snow. Just barely, but enough to make me bite my lip and watch the sky.
I'd be happy to show you.
Listen, sometimes the low-hanging fruit is what you gotta go for. It's just the best delivery.
You're seriously the best. Like, thanks for doing all this.
It's nothing, really. Don't all your hosts do the same?
A lot of them only stick around for the first day or two. Then once they realize there's a lot of filming and setting up behind the scenes, they get bored.
For all her issues, I can't deny that Morgan's been a much more gracious and helpful host than we're used to. We walk in silence for a little bit. All the while, the snow continues to fall, getting heavier and heavier. At first, I tried to ignore it, but it's hard. Like always, it seems it'll fall to me to be the responsible one.
Hey, Morgan? Are you sure it's safe to keep going? It's starting to snow pretty hard.
Both of them look up as if they hadn't noticed.
Oh, you're right.
Now it's Morgan who turns around and looks back the way we came. I can practically hear the gears turning in her head. Tara watches, looking anxious. Oh, so she only worries if Morgan it starts to look uncomfortable.
It's going to get bad pretty soon.
She says it so matter-of-factly that at first the severity of her words don't register. Then every single alarm bell in my head starts ringing.
What? How soon is pretty soon? And how bad?
I'd say within the next half hour. Those clouds don't look good.
That's an understatement. They seem to be moving almost impossibly fast. Just like that, the weather has gone from a light snow to the start of a blizzard.
We need to turn back then. Back to the cabin.
I take a couple steps, but the fresh snow has made it hard to walk. Even the trail that we just left has been partially obscured.
We're closer to the church than the cabin. I think we should go there and wait it out.
Take me to church.
Wait it out? What if it doesn't just pass by? What if we're stuck there for days?
It's better than being dead, you know.
I turn to her in disbelief.
No shit it is!
Morgan wrings her hands, looking genuinely distressed.
I don't know what's going on. I don't think it was...
Once again, she looks back in the direction we came from, lost in thought.
We're just wasting time standing here arguing, you know. Morgan said we should go to the church, and she's the expert.
I'm loath to call her an expert at this point, but Tara's right that we don't have time to spare. We're definitely in dire straits if she's the one being the voice of reason.
Fine, let's get going then.
We don't waste any more energy on talking. We just follow Morgan as closely as we can. The light from her bounces in the wind, reminiscent of the light we followed just a few short days ago. I focus on it using it as a beacon, since it's easier to keep track of than Morgan herself. I bury my face in my scarf as much as I can, feeling the wind push against me and then making it harder to walk. Oh, there we go. By now, the world around us is starting to grow more and more blurry. It'll be a whiteout before long. My heart beats hard in my chest as my anxiety starts to skyrocket. We keep walking, huddling close together as we press on. Tara keeps a brave face, but she's shuddering more with each step. Morgan and I push a little closer to her, hoping to help shield her from the wind as much as we can. When we get back, if we get back, I'm not letting her take another step outside until she agrees to start wearing something warmer. After what feels like years, we come to a stop. My legs are leaden with the effort of marching through the snow. I'm afraid that Morgan's going to say that we're lost, but then I realize that we've arrived. Just ahead, a huge stone building stands tall. For its supposed age, it looks remarkably intact. The howling winds buffet it, but even from here it looks infinitely safer than being stuck out here. A pair of massive wooden doors looms before us.
Just give me 1 second and I'll get this open.
She grabs a hold of the door and starts to pull. The freezing wind works against her, and for a tense moment I worry that she won't be able to get them open. But then, with a creak that's audible even in this weather, they slide open to let us in.
After you.
We don't need telling twice. Tara and I hurry inside with Morgan letting the door slam shut behind her as she follows. The first thing that strikes me is the temperature. An old stone building in the middle of a blizzard should be frigid, but it's not. In fact, it's almost warm.
Mads, we hit the jackpot!
Okay, the echo in the voice is a very nice touch. I appreciate that, actually. Her shout reverberates around the massive chamber, leaving a faint echo in its wake. When Morgan said church, I figured it'd be some small wooden shack with a tacked-on steeple. But this... Tara's flashlight beam dances wildly along the walls as she spins in circles, trying to take in every last detail all at once. This is nothing short of incredible. I let my light drift as well, but slowly enough that I can actually take the time and process what I'm seeing. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just like little details like that. Like just adding the echo, like right there, just passively tells you just how large the room is. The whole interior is remarkably well preserved. A few broken pews, a couple pieces of collapsed stone, and a layer of dust on nearly every surface are the only things that make the place seem anything less than brand new. Looking closer at the building itself, I can see various flourishes or designs decorating the walls and railings. Whoever built this place, they built it as a labor of love. The centerpiece is a massive stained glass window that dominates the center of the far wall. Its brilliant colors form an intricate pattern. I make my way over to Morgan, who is currently watching Tara dart around the building with a small, satisfied smile. It dissipates as I approach. Even though I'm relieved to be out of the storm, I can't believe we end up in this situation in the first place. Before I can say anything, though, she beats me to it.
I'm really sorry about this. I truly am. If I'd thought the weather would turn so foul, I'd have never suggested we come out here. The last thing I want to do is place you and Tara in any danger. I just wanted to show the two of you something tangible. Something different.
I swallow my harsh words. Chastising her wouldn't do us any good. Plus, she's right that the weather changed way faster than I would have expected or even thought possible. So I just rub my shoulders, trying to massage some warmth back into them.
Don't apologize yet. There's still plenty of time for us to die of starvation or something like that.
I think it's more likely that we die of exposure first.
Well, that's reassuring. Suddenly, a beam of light swipes across my face. It comes from Tara on the other side of the building.
Hey, come check out these books!
Morgan and I both start to head over.
By the way, how do you keep it so warm in here? I was looking for a heater or something, but couldn't find one.
It's magic, I think.
You know what? I'm not even going to argue. Tara's waiting silently next to a stack of books. That's probably a first.
Check it out!
The wooden shelves are warped and damaged beyond repair, but have still retained their shape pretty well. The books that line them are in a similar condition. When I remove one, its one soft cover is cold and rigid, and the text has faded into illegibility. But, flipping through the pages, a few of them are still readable. Or at least would be if I could understand the language.
Tell me these aren't filled with ancient incantations or something.
These aren't filled with ancient incantations.
She holds up a book to her face and blows a puff of air towards me, filling my face with dust. I wrinkle my nose, coughing and spluttering.
Hey, what the hell? You don't know what's floating around in here?
You're literally the only person alive who could be in a haunted church and not care at all.
She never said it was haunted, you know? And I'm sorry that I'm still a bit too shaken up over, almost dying in a snowstorm.
We weren't ever in any real danger, I'm sure. Isn't that right, Morgan?
Actually, I wasn't sure we were going to make it here.
Tara's eyes widen, the reality of the situation hitting her at last. Then she grins.
That makes this an even more badass story for the vlog. Mads, you'll have to go hard on the wind sound effects. Maybe we should set the camera outside, get some footage of the blizzard?
She hurries over to where I'd abandoned the camera on one of the pews and picks it up, dances around as she frames mock shots. I open my mouth to tell her how dumb that is when a trickle of dust spirals past me. The whole church shakes with a slight tremor and more dust is displaced.
Earthquake?
That would be icing on this cake. It would also be horrifically ironic if we survived the blizzard only to die in a freak earthquake. Something tells me that's not what this is, though. There's another treasure? There's another tremor, slightly stronger this time, and with it a distant boom, like someone shooting a cannon in the forest. The three of us exchange a glance silently. For once, even Tara is silent. Boom. The stained glass window rattles. I hear Morgan sucking a breath. When I look at her, her eyes are wild and confused. Boom. The thunderous sound is getting closer. Then there's another sound. A blistering crack that I recognize as a tree splintering. No winds, no matter how strong, should be able to do that. Wordlessly, Tara heads over to the front doors. Though my first instinct is to call her back to what I hope is safety, I find myself more curious than afraid. I have to know what it is. I have to see it. Morgan lingers behind us, unsure of what to say or do. Tara reaches the doors and presses her shoulder against it. She pushes the door open, just a crack. Or at least she tries to. But the terrifying wind catches and rips the doors all the way open, as if presenting the scene before us. I struggle to comprehend what I'm seeing. An immense monster towers over the trees and church, putting all of Manny's doubts to rest. It has antlers and glowing red eyes. Ooh, that's creepy. Tall. Taller even than the trees stands what I can only describe as a monster. Two enormous, luminous red eyes peer out across the blackest expanse of the night sky. Neither the howling wind nor the biting snow seem to affect it at all.
Oh my god.
That's not possible.
This can't be happening. This can't be real. My legs are about to collapse under me. My heart drops like a rock in my chest, and every heartbeat sends a rush of blood through my body so strong it drowns out the cacophonous storm. Tara fumbles with the camera, her hands shaking violently. Cursing, trembling, she struggles to lift up to her face, repeatedly losing her grip as she tries to focus on the thing in front of us. I don't know how she can even have the presence of mind to do that. My thoughts are a blur as my mind does its best to process what I'm seeing. It's like the forest itself came to life. Like a whole mass of trees just uproot themselves from the ground to form something that can't possibly exist. Branches twist and contort into each other. One tree splits into 10. Wood, rotting into decay and growing anew again, spin from the impossible red center. Two immense horns pierce the sky, looking like lightning bolts permanently imprinted against the clouds. Every thought that I can manage to form is fleeting. Every rational part of me tells me that what I'm seeing shouldn't exist, that it isn't possible. Yet here it is. Undeniable. All I can do is stare. The red glows brightly, burning my eyes like it's staring right back at me. Maybe it is. The beast shuffles forward, its feet obscured by the forest below. With each movement, there's a massive echo. Trees crackle and snap beneath its immense weight like twigs, flattened to nothing and buried under the snowfall. Slowly, the beast lumbers off into the night and is swallowed from sight by the darkness. Soon, even the sounds of its footsteps fade too. I'm not sure how long Tara and I remained in petrified silence. I realize I have fallen to my knees, though I have no recollection of it happening. I feel like I have no recollection of anything, that nothing will ever make sense again. At some point, Morgan comes to my side, helping Tara and I back indoors. My whole body is numb with either shock or the cold. Perhaps both. She leads us to one of the benches that's mostly intact. I collapse down onto it, my legs still unwilling to support me. I glance at Tara. All the color is gone from her face, and she's still trembling. I probably don't look much better. For a long time, none of us know what to say. We sit and wait until long after the snow stops falling and morning arrives. Oh, okay, yeah, chapter 2, sure. Let's just end it like that, sure. I don't say a word on the way back to the cabin. How can I? How do you vocalize knowledge that your core understanding of the world just turned out to be wrong? It feels like the ground beneath my feet dropped out from under me. My steps are unsteady and I feel nausea coming up like waves. My head pounds hard. I've always prided myself on my healthy skepticism, but I can't deny what's right in front of me. My thoughts scramble to find some way to explain it. Some way that I can piece it together in a way that I can understand. But it's hopeless. Tara is still struck mute. I expect her to be bouncing off the walls, to be unable to calm down. After all, this is what she's been after for years, ever since we started the show, ever since she first had the idea for the show. Now that we finally actually found something, neither of us know how to react. She keeps playing the short clip she recorded over and over again, watching it until the battery runs dry. A lot of it is unusable due to snow in her shaky hands, but there is still a few seconds of clear, uninterrupted footage. Her ratings are going to go off the charts. We're going to have to prepare for endless barrages of questions and accusations of doctoring the footage. This will mean interviews, national news, maybe a book deal. Nothing will ever be the same again. But all we can manage is silence. Morgan's the only one who seems somewhat calm, though even she's a bit shaken. She's the one who coaxed us to leave the church and start heading back to town. Oh yeah, I remember Morgan mentioned seeing something large in the forest before too. I wonder if that's the same thing. It's the obvious thing to do. And yet somehow the suggestion seems like a crazy idea that I would have never come up with myself. All my thoughts are mush. If it weren't for Morgan, I'm sure Tara and I would both end up wandering the woods in total shock. I can barely manage a slow tumble as I follow from way behind. Thick, fresh snow impedes the path. The blizzard subsided, but the harsh winds bite at my exposed skin. It all feels like too much.
Maddie, are you okay?
It takes me a few seconds to even register her voice, and a few more to realize she's looking back at me with genuine concern.
Yeah, I'm fine.
My brain screams to ask for help, and my body feels moments away from collapsing. But what kind of help could she give me? I can only focus on reaching our destination. Morgan looks like she wants to respond, but instead resumes her trek forward, this time moving at a somewhat slower pace. After a while, the faintest light in the distance comes into view. The cabin. Our light. Our refuge in the darkness. Man, Tara, you're looking... I think that's the first time I've seen you, actually not look chipper. Tara's pace quickens to a near sprint, like she had been waiting for this moment. She rushes and crosses the distance, disappearing inside. Morgan walks alongside me. She opens the door, following inside behind me. I feel a sudden pang of guilt over how much I've disregarded her before now. Especially since she was actually right. As soon as I reach the couch, my legs give out from under me and I fall onto it like a ton of bricks. It isn't until I hit the cushions that I realize I nearly crushed Tara, who was already collapsed next to me.
Sorry.
She didn't say anything. She might not have noticed. I thought that getting back to the cabin in safety would renew her enthusiasm. She should be running circles around me, screaming, "I told you so." Everything about her whole existence has just been validated. But she's looking down at the ground without saying a word. bangs obscure her eyes, making her face unreadable. Her chest rises and falls in an odd rhythm. Then I realize that, just like me, she's still trembling. The monster's silhouette flashes through my head again. Huge and terrifying, the red light shining down to the very center of my being.
Here, this will help.
She sets 2 glasses of water down on the table in front of us. I didn't even register her coming over here. Tear clears her throat and leans forward.
Thanks. Seriously.
The first word that she's spoken in what feels like hours. She manages a small sip, but most of it dribbles down her shirt. I don't even reach for my glass, knowing that my hands are just as shaky, if not more. My entire worldview was shattered. It's going to take more than just a walk in the snow and a glass of tap water for everything to sink in.
How are you not freaking out? Have you seen that thing before?
No, that was my first time as well.
Oh, so it's different from the other monsters she saw. Or large creature. She doesn't answer the other part of my question. Tara continues to slowly drink her glass of water while mine remains untouched. At some point, Morgan goes in the kitchen and prepares a pot of coffee. I can hear her rummage around the fridge and smell the coffee as it brews, but neither register beyond a cursory awareness. What does get my attention is when she sets 2 steaming mugs in front of us, hot coffee sloshing over onto her hands.
Drink this. It'll help.
I do as I'm told, lapping at the brew since it's too hot to sip. Tara does the same. Morgan sits down beside her on the couch, draining her own mug much faster than we do as she gazes out the window. By the time I'm about halfway through my own, I do feel a bit better. Whether that's because of the warmth, the caffeine, or just the placebo effect, I'm not sure. Once we're finished, we just lapse back into preoccupied silence. Yet again, it's Morgan who breaks it.
I think the 2 of you should take some time to relax. I need to get home soon too, before I arouse too much suspicion. Does that work for you?
I looked at Tara, who doesn't seem to have even heard what Morgan said.
Yeah, sounds fine.
The more that I think about it, the more appealing it sounds. Right now, I want nothing more than to curl up in my bed, cocoon myself in blankets, and sleep for a while.
Okay, I'll see you later then.
Never one for long goodbyes, Morgan heads straight for the
I'll
door.
message you soon.
She leaves before either of us can respond. We sit. And sit. I don't know for how long. Longer than I've ever seen Tara sit still. I just don't know what else to do. As much as I'd like to, I know we can't just sit here forever. The knowledge that we'll soon have to return to mundane, everyday things feels unreal. We just witnessed something magical and life-changing. How could we just go back to normal life? But I know that in truth, the world hasn't changed at all. Just our knowledge of it. No matter how long we wait, the outside world will continue to pass us by. It feels like an eternity passes, but Tara's voice breaks the silence. I'm not sure if I fell asleep or not, but I react with a start and my heart beats 100 miles per hour.
So, what do you think?
About which part? There's a lot to take in.
Yeah. About all of it. Or any of it.
While she sits, she idly pulls on a loose thread from a blanket close by. She pulls and pulls and unravels even further. I don't think she notices she's doing it.
I think the main thing is that I wonder what else is out there now. Not just in the forest, but in the whole world. Are there more of those things? Or is it the only one of its kind? And how did no one ever see it before? There's just so much that I don't know how or what to feel. What about you?
Again, she shrugs.
The same, pretty much.
There's no way you're not gonna get that BooTube award now, you know?
It's a surefire joke. It should be for an easy smile, but she doesn't react at all.
Probably not. Think I'm gonna crash. Good night, Mads.
Just like Morgan, she gets up and leaves without even giving me time to reply. There's barely 5 seconds between her saying it and her bedroom door slamming shut behind her. It's not all the kind of response I'd expect from Tara, but these are far from normal circumstances. All I can do now is wait for her or for Morgan. Wait and wonder. Okay, I'm actually going to be back super quick. I need to top off my water because this is all this yapping is making me very thirsty. So I'll be right back. I'm going to leave the background music on while I'm gone, though, because this is actually very pretty music and I like it. Okay. I'm hydrated. I actually took a nice stretch, which if you take a stretch, like if you haven't taken a good stretch, just do it really quick. Just arch your back, stretch out your arms, stand up, move around. Ugh. I needed that. But I have water, so now I'm ready to continue straining my throat. Oh boy. After a long night spent researching, I awaken around 11 in the morning, a good 2 or 3 hours later than I usually get up. You know, off topic, I've been thinking about this. I should maybe invest in a large water bottle or something, because I never have enough water for what I want to have. Maybe I'll do that. I get paid this week. Maybe this week I'll go pick up a big water bottle or jug or something for better hydration. But anyway, back to this beautiful story. I get dressed in a hurry, not wanting to keep Tara waiting before we head into town. It'd be a pretty ironic twist though, since usually I'm the one who has to wait for her to get ready after late nights. I have a sheaf of notes that I took and a hand cramp to match. I'm not sure how useful all of it will be, but it's at least a starting point. Tara's good at seeing the hidden connections and putting pieces together too. It makes for entertaining videos, even without results. Out in the living room, a lukewarm pot of coffee and a used mug are the only indication that she's awake.
Hey, I'm up now. Slept in a little. I'll be ready to go in a sec.
I call from the kitchen, prepare my own cup of coffee. She doesn't respond. I wonder if she can't hear me with the door closed. I go and knock on the door, being careful not to spill any coffee on myself. No response. I knock again louder. Most likely she has her headphones in, That or she fell back asleep.
You ready? I'm good to go. I have a bunch of notes and research too. Maybe we could go over some of it with Morgan.
Silence. She's not that heavy of a sleeper. I knock again, even harder, but she still doesn't answer. I jiggle the doorknob a little bit. It turns easily. I open the door slowly, giving her ample time to yell and interrupt me. But she doesn't. Her room is empty. She left without me. I let go of my carefully arranged papers, suddenly not caring that much about them as they flutter to the floor. My hand shakes, hard enough for coffee to spill out of the mug and stain the pages below. Man, people are spilling a lot of coffee. That is such a waste. Why are you all spilling so much coffee on the floor? It makes me sad. So, that's how it is. Whatever it is. I swallow the lump in my throat, forcing myself to not overreact. Maybe she tried to wake me up and I slept through it. Or maybe she just went out for a walk and will be back soon so that we can go into town. There are 100 different benign scenarios for what could have happened, but in my heart I know that she ditched me plain and simple. I go to the sink and dump out the coffee. My appetite's suddenly gone. Then I pick up the papers that I dropped. A few are ruined beyond legibility from the coffee, but it's not like anyone will miss them. I throw them in the trash along with the sodden paper towels I used to clean up the spill. I gather the rest of the papers in a pile and leave them on the kitchen counter. Throwing them away feels like a waste, but I don't really want to look at them right now. I retreat back to my room and slam the door, even though there's no one around to hear it. I put on a film at random for background noise more than anything. My thoughts start to wander before the opening credits are even finished. What exactly was it that I did that upset Tara so much? Before Morgan took us to the church, things were fine between us, if not a bit tense. But I was working my attitude and she didn't seem bothered. And since seeing the monster, both of us have said so little. So I'm just left wondering what I did wrong. I wish that she would talk to me, or at least help me understand. I'm about 50 minutes in the film before I realize that I have the French audio track playing without subtitles, and that I haven't understood a word of it. I close my laptop and stare blankly at the wall, since that's the only thing I can do and not mess up right now. It isn't long before I can hear the crunching of 2 pairs of footsteps outside, as well as the low murmur of conversation. The front door bursts open, and from my room I can hear the din of Tara entering.
Gotta be related to the stuff in the journals. There's no way they're not talking about the same thing. Just send all those pics to my email address when you can. This is gonna be so freaking good.
Sure thing.
I sit paralyzed in my bed. Should I ignore them? Go out and act like nothing's out of the ordinary? Part of me wants to just hide in my room, but the way Tara and I have always gone over our arguments is by being open about our issues. Plus, Tara would know that I'm at the cabin. If she brought Morgan back here, I doubt she's trying to avoid me. Maybe they came back specifically to include me. Hoping for the best, I head out into the living room. Tara's bringing a pot of coffee while Morgan leans against the counter. A few books that she must have brought from home are stacked beside her. She glances up as I enter.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey there.
Tara nods without facing me.
What are the books?
I nod at the stack. Tara sets 2 cups of coffee in front of her and Morgan and slides the books toward herself.
They're the journals she mentioned on the walk to the church. She was letting me take a look at them.
She puts emphasis on the word me, like she's the only one who's allowed to. Maybe that's the case. This isn't off to a great start.
I see you picked up a coffee habit too, huh? Morgan's really rubbed off on you.
Yeah.
She turns to face Morgan, being sure to exclude me from what she says.
Okay, we can chill in my room. Might want to grab one of the spare chairs from out here.
Oh, okay.
It's a small consolation, but I can tell that even Morgan feels a lot uncomfortable with the situation. She gives me a sympathetic look, but doesn't say anything. Just why is Tara acting like this? If she would just tell me, we could work it out. I stick out an arm, holding Morgan as she carries a chair across the cabin.
Tara, can I talk to you for a sec?
The two of them exchange a look, but I can't tell what it's supposed to mean. And then she shrugs. I gesture towards my room and she follows me in. I shut the door.
Can you please, tell me why you're mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
I scoff.
Whatever you want to call it, why are you treating me like this?
Like what?
I can already feel myself starting to get angry, but I try to keep it under control.
Please don't play dumb like that. You barely talked to me for 3 days, you ditched me this morning, and now you're going out of your way to exclude me. I don't know how to interpret that as anything other than mad. I have no idea what I said or did to piss you off, so I don't even know what to apologize for.
Tara runs a hand through her hair and looks around my room. It's the first time she's been in here since we arrived in Eisenfeld. It's more or less a carbon copy of hers, so I don't know what's so interesting about it.
I'm not mad, I'm just not wasting your time with this stuff anymore. I can take it from here.
I'm not quite sure I heard her right.
Sorry, what?
I said I can take it from here.
Take what exactly?
The vid. I mean, you're quitting anyway, so I've got to learn how to do all this on my own, right?
But that's not...
I don't even know what to say to that.
Why not ask me at least? Or even tell me? That's so screwed up.
How do you figure? Every day since we've got here, you've talked about or at least shown how you don't want to be here. You even said it yourself. You had to make an effort to be less bitchy whenever we go out. So, now that there's a solid lead, I can figure out the rest of it myself. Or at least with Morgan's help. If you want, I can buy you an early train ticket home or something. Next one should be coming through in a day or two. You don't have to keep pretending to care.
You know, don't make assumptions. Whenever you make assumptions, it almost always goes poorly for all parties involved. The whole time, her tone never changes. It's flat and emotionless. I wonder if that's another result of Morgan's influence. I'm way expecting there to be more. Hoping that there's more. There isn't. I stand there dumbfounded. Tara shrugs again and then leaves, closing my bedroom door behind her.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's get those journals.
I can still hear her talking to Morgan through the wall, bright and chipper. My legs feel weak all of a sudden, and I collapse onto my bed. Through everything, my own misgivings and concerns about my future, choosing to quit the show and telling Tara about it, and even witnessing the monster at the church, I managed to keep my composure. But for the first time in I don't know how long, I can't stop it any longer. I cry. All of this feels so unfair. Of course, I didn't want to be here. It's been a waste of time every single other time. I get it. I was a skeptic, the non-believer, only hearing her and all her exploits and playing as her foil. I rained on her parade constantly. And now, after everything that's happened, she was right. I can't deny that, but why does that mean I don't deserve to be involved with it now? Maybe she took my leaving personally, even though I swore that wasn't the case. I was only doing what was right for me. I need to move on and do something with my life. So is it really my fault that meant I had to stop playing around with paranormal stuff? And after these past couple days, I was even starting to reconsider that. They stay on the show won't be so bad. Once the episode goes live, everything will be changing. But now I don't feel like that's an option. Like she'd even want me there anymore. I feel like everything in my life has changed in just a few short days. Like I'm lost at sea without anything to hold on to. My best friend in the whole world is at the epicenter of it all, and I'm thousands of miles from home. Through the walls, I can faintly hear the sound of Morgan and Tara discussing what it is. Not nearly loud enough for me to make out any words, but enough to be reminded of my exclusion. I wonder if Tara knows how upset I am, or if she expects me to be grateful. Neither would surprise me. I cry until my eyes are dry and sore, but I don't feel any better. The walls of my bedroom feel claustrophobic, and the vague sound of Tara talking is insufferable. I hurriedly bundle up and slip out of my bedroom and out the cabin to get some fresh air. The cold is just barely more manageable today, but still preferable to the atmosphere inside. It stings my wet cheeks, burning reminders of my unhappiness. I pick a direction at random and start heading to the forest. And as long as I don't make any twists or turns and just go in a straight line, I won't be able to get lost. After what I've seen, the woods feel especially hostile now. I wonder what else could be lurking in the shadows or further amongst the trees. Countless possibilities I'd never considered are suddenly plausible. But for once, I don't hesitate. I just walk, my feet automatically slipping over roots and other forest debris. Underfoot, the snow is slushy and messy. My head feels the same. My heart hurts. Everything hurts. My nose burns from crying, and the cold only exacerbating the effect. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? I just feel lost. I reflect on the show and on the years I spent with Tara and wonder how it all came to this. The show had been her idea, of course, but I was one to encourage her to go through with it. She'd always had a flair for the dramatic. Dear Lord, this is turning into quite a paragraph. Whether it was a school play, her old blog, or even the over-the-top fanfic she used to write. And I'd always been there to support her, whatever it was. I'd go over her lines with her and help her rehearse, or even edit her fics. When she first had the idea for Terra Normal and combining her two biggest interests, cryptids and herself, I was the only person who said she should go for it. I even came up with a name, which I'm still pretty proud of. At first, I thought it would be another entry in a long list of harebrained ideas that Tara would start and quickly lose interest in. I gave it 2, maybe 3 episodes tops before she got bored. But the reception was good, and the views started coming in, so the ad revenue and the sponsorships. What started as a weekend hobby turned into a weekend responsibility, and then into a day job. My role went from holding a cheap camera and stitching together the footage to actually learning proper video editing and investing in decent equipment. It seemed only natural that I'd be the one to handle all the invites, fan mail, inquiries, and more. The professional side of things. I put my life on hold for the show, quit college halfway through my film studies degree, and moved out of my cheap student housing. I gave up my barista job and the store manager promotion I'd been hoping for. I dropped everything in order to help Tara make the best show possible. Sure, it wasn't like I had it rough. Tara's always split the royalties with me and pays for the expenses herself. The two of us had done pretty well for ourselves, better than we had any right to expect. But at the end of the day, it was still always about Tara. Her name in the title, her name in the contracts, her name in the fan mail. Tara, Tara, Tara. And when it's all over, when the final episode someday goes up and she moves on, she'll be able to take that name with her anywhere. And then success. The popularity. And all I'll have is the memory. The more I dwell on it, the more unfair Tara's behavior seems. I can feel anger overcoming my sadness. How could she say I'm only pretending to care? I gave up years of my life for her and dedicated them to making her look good. Without me, she'd have never been able to balance running the business side of the show while actually making it. Hell, she's not even close to being tech savvy enough to do what I do. Part of me wants to spin around now and go back to the cabin and demand an apology. But I know how that would go. She'd just get defensive. And even if she did say she's sorry, she wouldn't mean it. It won't actually fix anything. We'd just go back to where we started when we first got to Eisenfeld. tense and awkward. There isn't really a good solution that I can think of, but I have to do or say something. I can't just leave things as they are. Her offer for an early trip home lingers in my mind. I'm sure she'd make good on that promise. It sounds pretty tempting, too. In less than 3 days, I could be comfortable and warm and back in my own bed. I'd never have to think about Morgan or Eisenfeld or forest spirits or weird churches or floating lights again. I can just move on with my life the same way I've been planning to once I get home anyway. As I think of that, though, I know it's not really an option. I've never been able to live with myself if I let it all go unresolved. The two piercing red eyes shine my memory, and I know that there's no way I'd be able to forget about them. Memory of the monster makes me stop and take stock of my surroundings. I've been walking at a pretty good rate, unhindered by the weather and fueled by my bad mood. There's a small clearing just up ahead, and it looks like it might be a good spot to take a short break. It's not very big, I realize when I reach it. I could toss a stone from one side to the other. It doesn't feel as stifling as the rest of the forest, though. I clear my throat. It's the only noise I can hear. The sounds of the village don't travel this far. They barely reach the cabin for the most part. Overhead, the sky is a crystal clear blue for the first time that I can remember. It's still freezing, but it isn't cloudy. Not even an airplane or vapor trail disturb the tranquility. I rub my eyes and defog my glasses. I must look like a real mess out here. I do feel a little bit better, though. The fresh air alone has helped to clear my head. The snow underfoot is well trampled from my stomping around, and mud mixes with the slush to form a thin paste that sticks to my boots. If there's somewhere to sit down, this place would be perfect. I make do with leaning against a tree that's mostly dry. I'll need to remember how I got here. It'll be nice to have a place of my own to retreat to when I need it, away from the other two. Just as I'm enjoying the tranquility, there's a rustling sound overhead, and I look up just in time to get a face full of snow as it slides off a branch. Perfect timing. I cough and splutter, wiping away as much of it as I can, though a lot of it still falls into my clothes. I flap my jacket like wings, trying to knock it out. Okay, real talk, I hate that feeling. Like, I have been outside, like, in the snow, and, like, I've accidentally, like, turned or adjusted the wrong way, and the snow, like, falls into my coat. And that is just, like, the worst feeling in the world. I hate that so much. Right then, from the corner of my eye, a quick motion catches my attention. It's gone too fast for me to notice more than a glimpse of fabric, and I turn around to see who it was. But there's nothing there, and no sign of anything having been there. Heart pounding, I walk over in the direction it came from, looking for footprints or something. There's nothing. I rub my eyes. Maybe it was the snow messing with my vision. Snap. The harsh, unmistakable sound of a branch breaking cracks behind me. I spin around, expecting to see Tara there with a dumb smile on her face for having spooked me. But again, there's nothing. I pull my coat tighter around myself and press my back against the tree.
Hello? Is someone there?
My voice resounds through the clearing, but goes unanswered. In the middle of a clearing, a mysterious woman appears for just a moment. She has long pink hair and a lavender nightgown. Despite the snow, she's barefoot. Again, a flash of movement from the corner of my eye. This time, I'm sure I see it, a glimpse of purple, darting behind a tree. I start towards it, hand reaching, but without a clear plan in mind, just like a dog chasing cars, I don't know what I'll do if I actually catch it. I walk in the middle of the clearing, turning a slow circle, hoping to spot whatever it was.
Can you hear me? Hello?
It already knows I'm here. There's no point in trying to hide. Oh, I saw it. Snow crunches off to my left and I pivot, just in time to see a girl disappear behind yet another tree.
Hey, wait!
I may as well not be saying anything for all the effect it seems to have. I hurried to the tree where I saw her, but she's gone. I'm just running in circles, chasing after who knows what. My heart beats like a kick drum. A million possibilities race through my head, each more fantastic than the last. Maybe she's from the village. Maybe I imagined her. Maybe she's another forest spirit. Maybe she's the same forest spirit we saw before, in a different form. Any of them could be true. I see now that nothing is impossible. I look all around searching for a clue and finding none. This is a bad idea, I know. Every single fairy tale I've ever read warns that this is a bad idea. Chasing after mysterious girls in the woods never ends well. She could be luring me to her secret lair, or could even be a disguise for some kind of terrible monster. Maybe it's a forest spirit coming to exact revenge for trespassing its territory. I should turn and run, and race back to the cabin. If I told Tara and Morgan, I'm sure this is the kind of thing that would override Tara's annoyance, at least for now. It could be our chance to patch things up, pursuing some new mystery. Or I could not tell Tara, and I could solve the mystery myself, whatever it is. For the first time, something happened to me that doesn't involve Tara. I could keep it that way. My hand is trembling, but I reach out in the direction I last saw the girl, more as a sign of openness than anything else.
Are you still there?
Silence.
If you can hear me, can you let me know?
No response. My fingers close over empty air. This is stupid. I feel like an idiot talking to no one. If she wanted to be caught, she would have let me, I'm sure. But then if she didn't, then what was the point of even showing herself?
I'll come back tomorrow, okay? If you'll be here again.
It feels desperate. It is desperate. But I can't let this chance go. Not when this could be all I have. A light breeze blows through as if to answer. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I stand there hoping for another sign. As I give up and turn back towards the path home, I see it for just a split second. A bright pink light, crystal and clear, and the color of a sunset flashes just once. And it's the same as we chased through the forest several days ago. My breath catches in my throat. My muscles tighten, poised to follow, but my common sense overrides. As much as I want to, I can't just go running off into the forest on my own. I'd probably never find my way back. I swallow. If it can understand me like it seems to, then I'll see it tomorrow, once I've had more time to prepare. I face the direction the light came from, even though it's gone now.
I'll be back tomorrow. I promise.
Morgan and Tara never noticed me come home. They might not have even noticed that I left. I don't make any efforts to talk with them. I'm still too angry with Tara. Instead, I spend the rest of my day in my room watching films or reading. All the research that I was so eagerly working on is put aside, stuffed into a folder that's outside of my hard drive. I have my own project now, my own lead to explore. The funnel of that light and the mysterious girl in the woods stays in my mind through it all. Even late into the night, I can hear that Morgan's still over in Tara's room with her. At some point, the sounds go from conversation to something else. I turn up the volume on my computer. They can do whatever they want. It's well past midnight when my eyes finally get heavy enough to sleep. The next day, I head straight to the clearing without telling anyone. Nearly 24 hours to the minute since I left it. From the thick clouds overhead, I can tell it's going to be a short trip. Still, I have to go, at least to see. My heart thumps with anticipation, and more than a little nervousness. It's an odd mix. I force myself to keep a calm demeanor and not get too worked up. It's difficult. I'm hopeful, but I don't know what for. I don't have a camera or even my cell phone. There's no way I could prove anything that happens. And it's not like there's anyone who could vouch for me. Say that I saw what I saw. For now, it's important that I keep it that way. This encounter, whatever it may be, will be mine and mine alone. Ugh, water. Arriving at the clearing, I braced myself for what I might find. Nothing's changed. I met with silence. There's a faint sound of trees rustling in the wind, and nothing more.
Hello? Are you out there?
I give it a moment, waiting and hoping for a response that never comes. It really was my eyes playing tricks on me. The light could have been a reflection of the sun, and the girl could have been... There isn't a doubt left in my mind that the girl was there. There's no way I didn't see someone. Frustrated, I kick at some of the mush on the ground. It splashes up and splatters my legs.
Are you there? I'm waiting. Please.
I feel like a fool. I'm pleading with someone that may or may not exist to manifest. If someone told me a week ago that I'd be here doing this today, I'd have laughed at them. Everything about this situation is unlike me. My irritation builds up. With myself, with Tara, with the stupid ghost light, with everything. Whatever was there is gone now. And really, what kind of an idiot convinces herself to come back for an imaginary date with a weird breeze? I mean, listen, Maddie, desperation does weird things to people, okay? I'm not here to judge. I clench my fists, looking without seeing. Slowly, I turn circles, hoping for something. Anything. I triumphs back and forth at an increasingly desperate pace, not really sure what kind of clue I'm searching for, but just knowing that I can't sit still. If I sit still, then I'm giving up. And if I give up, then I really don't have anything left for me out here. For the second day in a row, I feel a stream of tears in my eyes, and I pinch my eyes shut to stop them. Not here. Not today. I hold my hand there and suck in a deep breath. The cold air stings my throat. I stay my breathing, fighting back the urge to cry. After a moment, once the urge has passed, I lower my hand and open my eyes. Oh, hello. And she's there. So silently and so suddenly that it's like she was never not there. The mysterious girl stands before me, barefoot in the snow, but seemingly unfazed. She regards me with a curious look, her eyes wide, like I'm the one who's out of place. Now she's here, right in front of me. I realize I don't know what to say.
Hello?
Is all I could muster. My voice comes out weaker than I expected. Her eyes go wide at my word. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. She mouths something else again, still without a voice.
I can't hear you.
A frown. She turns away. Have I disappointed her? Is she going to disappear again?
Please don't go!
I don't know why I want her to stay. Something is clearly different. Unnatural. This isn't a normal girl. But that's exciting in and of itself. The girl turns back around to face me again. She looks just as confused as I feel. There's a nervous sort of energy to her. Beneath the gown she's wearing, far too thin for the weather, the girl's legs are tense and ready to bolt. I take a step towards her, hold out my hand the same way I'd approach a kitten or lost puppy.
My name's Madison. Can you understand me?
She still looks a bit nervous, but nods. So we speak the same language. That's good. Is she from Eisenfeld? I can't imagine she's from anywhere else. There's nothing else around.
You were talking, right? Just a bit ago. But I couldn't hear you.
Another nod. That means that for whatever reason, her words can't reach me. Maybe she's meant naturally mute, or maybe her voice was magically stolen. Every idea that comes to mind is more ridiculous than the last, but I consider them all equally. To my surprise, I'm able to remain calm and, by my standards, pretty level-headed. And it seems like the girl is more afraid of me than vice versa. I drop my hand down, offering a handshake. She stares at it for a moment, maybe expecting it to turn into a snake or for me to shoot magic bolts from my fingers, magic missile. When neither of those happen, she gingerly, slowly reaches for my hand. It passes through me. Her fingers glide through the palm of my hand like a breeze disappearing into the air. With a sad smile, she looks down, seemingly expecting this result. Perfect realization slowly dawns on me. The same tinge of certainty that guided me out here. And this girl isn't really here in the same way that I am.
You're a ghost.
A slow, sad nod. She looks apologetic about it, for inconveniencing me with her lack of a corporeal form.
I'm sorry.
The words feel weak and inadequate, and nearly like a non sequitur. But really, what do you say to a ghost? She shakes her head vigorously, hair flying about, trying to rid herself of some bad thought. She gives me a big smile and stretches her arms wide, turning about to gesture to the trees around us.
What is it? I don't understand.
The girl bites her lip, wondering how to better convey her message. Then, with a decisive nod, she points at me, and then points at the ground between us. Pausing a moment, she holds that pose. Then she points at the trees, in particular the path I come from, and shakes her head. A flash of fear and ice display under my skin. Is she threatening me? She definitely doesn't look like it. Oh, maybe she's saying that she can only appear in this clearing or something.
Something about where I came from?
She nods, then repeats the pointing. First at me, then at the ground.
Me? Right here?
Another nod.
You're asking if I'll stay here?
She nods and claps, hopping up. Except she doesn't come down. She hovers there as if suspended by invisible strings and slowly lowers herself back to the ground. I'm not sure if that's what she was going for, but I smile.
Are you showing off?
She laughs and nods, glad to be understood.
I can stay for a bit, sure. If you want me to, I mean.
The girl practically zooms a short distance between us, moving with what might be supernatural speed. She stands so close that her gown phases through me, uncomfortable in its lack of sensation. And she nods again, this time solemn and hopeful. I can't fight the feeling that she could easily be saying some kind of trap or leading me astray, but I still don't get that impression from her. So I agree.
Okay, I'd be happy to. But I can't stay for too long, or Tara will start to wonder where I am.
Tara again. For the first time since we arrived, I was able to fully push her from my thoughts. I was so overwhelmed by meeting this girl that Tara didn't even register on my consciousness. But now, there she is again. She's more haunting than the ghost. The ghost in question mouths Tara's name, one of the few words I can actually lip read.
The person I came here with. She's, back in the village.
The girl's eyes go wide and she points in the direction of the forest. It makes a dragging motion back to where we are. This one's easy to understand.
No, she's not coming here. She has no idea.
For the first time, I'm glad the girl can't speak because it means she can't ask me to elaborate. I don't want to think about Tara right now.
Anyway, were you here yesterday too? Watching me?
A nod, wholly unapologetic.
I thought so. I also thought I might be crazy though. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised by either one.
She looks surprised. I wonder if she knows about the other supernatural occurrences in the forest. Maybe they're connected somehow.
The other day, my friend and I were out in the forest,
Nod.
and suddenly there was this huge snowstorm out of nowhere, and we saw this giant thing.
I stretch my hands to indicate just how enormous it was. But the enormity and terror of it are impossible to convey.
I don't even know how to describe it. It was a monster of some kind. Like a huge tree had come alive and was walking in the snow. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not only does the girl nod, but she laughs, finding something funny about my story. I'm not sure if I should be worried or not.
So you've seen it. Is it, like, evil?
A firm shake of her head.
That's good. It was honestly the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
After that, we taper off into silence. Well, I do. I don't have a reason to believe her, but so far she doesn't seem threatening at all. I have a hard enough time holding up my end of a conversation under normal circumstances. This just makes it even harder. The two of us just stand there looking at each other. Now that she's not moving around so much, I'm able to get a better look at her. She seems to be around my age, if not a bit younger. Her hair is long and slightly unruly, reaching well down her back. She reminds me of a bit of Rapunzel, all alone in the forest. A cute bow midway down helps keep her hair in place. Her wide eyes are curious, but slightly sad. Still, she smiles so easily that I wonder if I'm just imagining the sorrow. As green as emeralds, her eyes kind of remind me of Morgan's. I was so taken aback by her sudden appearance and, well, ghostiness that at first I didn't realize. She's beautiful. Her choice of attire makes a lot more sense now that I know she can't feel the cold. The gown she is wearing has a few dangling threads and scuff spots, which I assume haven't changed since she died. I shudder, trying to think of my own mortality. What was it like? Why is she here instead of whatever usually happens when you die? Does she know what she's missing? An afterlife, or lack thereof? I have a million questions about her life and about life itself. There's so much I want to ask, but it's impossible. Plus, we've only known each other a few minutes. It feels like that would be rude to ask right away. A thick snowflake lands on my cheek, startling me. I'd pretty much forgotten about the weather. Overhead, the clouds are getting worse, and the snow is starting to fall more heavily. As much as I want to spend more time with her, I really don't want to be caught out in a blizzard a second time.
I need to go back now, but will you be here again? I'd like to see you again. If you'd like that too.
She nods empathetically, with a grin to match. I can't help but smile in return. It's nice to know that someone is looking forward to seeing me.
Okay, I'll come back as soon as I can. I promise. Although, I'm not sure when the weather will let me do that. On the next sunny day, I'll be there, okay?
She nods.
Okay, I'll see you soon then. I hope.
The girl waves goodbye as I turn to leave, remaining in the center of the clearing. Let's get my last look at her. I know that I'm not imagining the sadness in her eyes now. I glance behind several times on the walk back, each time expecting her to have disappeared once more. But she stays there, waving until the trees obscure her from sight. A splash of purple fabric against the brown and white of the forest. A little spark of light to look forward to. Okay, honestly, that's cute. I'm like a sucker for like ghost stories, but like especially ones where it's like they still maintain like the humanity of the ghost, you know? But that being said, I was gonna cut a little short tonight. Definitely not because I want to play more Monster Hunter. Nope, definitely not. But I also feel that's just kind of a good stopping point. Like we met the ghost. We're gonna save. We're gonna save. You know, we'll save for each like different slot. That way we can kind of like track the journey. But yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, definitely not the Monster Hunter brainworms claiming one's soul. Nope. Well, I mean, that's the secret. I just don't have a soul. But yeah, it has been. It's pretty comfy. I do want to keep seeing where it goes, and I'm glad I finally got to like stream it without having to like cancel or delay it. So, but that will be it for me tonight. I actually know exactly who we're gonna raid because I have not gotten a chance to raid Geist yet. It will be a bit of a change of pace because Geist is currently... Oh, never mind. I cannot raid Geist. Let's see. Who can we raid then? Not really anyone else on, actually, so... yeah, I think we just won't raid tonight, but that's okay. So, I'm just gonna end it for now. We'll be back tomorrow with Murakami for Murakami to Sophie, though. I'm very much looking forward to that. But I appreciate everybody who stopped by, even if it was just a lyric. Always appreciated. And I'm going to go do totally adult things that aren't other distractions. Yeah. But yeah, you all have a good night and take care. Goodbye.